Hey, welcome back to the What the Wealthy Do podcast, where we break down the money moves the wealthy make and show you how to apply those same strategies on your wealth building journey. I am your host, Stephanie Dorsey. I am the CEO and co-founder of Margins Capital, an investment firm that is focused on providing women and people of color access to an institutional quality portfolio of alternative investments. So today, we're talking about something that all of us know about, or at least we think we know, but we probably don't fully understand the mechanics and the logistics of how it will all go down when we reach our retirement age. I put that in quotes because everyone has a different age and it's fine. But regardless, when we can access the money that we're saving for retirement, do we really know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and if we have set ourselves up to play ourselves when it comes time to taking out those distributions? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I chose this topic because here's the truth that nobody really wants to say out loud, which is for most of us, our 401k alone will not be enough to fund the retirement that we envision for ourselves. The wealthy are not putting all of their eggs in the proverbial 401k basket. They're building diversified retirement income streams across multiple accounts, asset classes, and tax structures. And so today I'm breaking down why relying solely on your 401k is risky and how taxes can destroy your retirement lifestyle and what you need to start thinking about right now if you're between the ages of 38 and 55 and you want to retire comfortably. Next week in part 2, we're going to build an actual retirement portfolio strategy. But today, before we get into it, you know the drill. This podcast is intended to give financial education and not financial advice. So let's get into it. Let's start with some history. And I say this all the time. The finance industry is forever changing and it's new. Like a lot of us think it's been this way forever, and it's not. It's a new, constantly evolving space. And so it should be no surprise that the 401k is my age. It was introduced in 1978 as a supplement to pensions, not a replacement. But back then, most people had pensions. My dad had one, and he did not have a 401k. And the 401k was supposed to be extra, a way to save a little more on top of your pension. But then corporations, we already know where this is going. They were like, pensions are expensive and we got to fund them forever. What if we just shift all the risk and responsibilities to our employees? Yeah, let's do that. They'll just save for themselves. And that's exactly what happens. Pensions disappeared. 401ks became the primary retirement vehicle. And now millions of Americans are trying to retire on savings vehicles that were never designed to fully carry the weight of 20 and 30 and 40 years of retirement. It just wasn't, right? So here's the thing that the wealthy understand. You can't outsource your retirement security to a single account type. The 401k is a tool. It's a good tool. It's all right. But it's not the only tool. So let me break down the 3 reasons why putting all of your retirement eggs into a 401k basket is very, very risky. The first issue is the contribution limits are just too low. For 2026, the 401k contribution limit is $23,500 or $31,000 if you're 50 or older. And that sounds like a lot, but let's look at the math, right? So if you're 40 and you max out your 401k every year until you're 65, that's 25 years. And let's say you get an average of a 7% annual return. You're probably going to do better, but let's just say 7%. You'll have about $1.5 million. And it sounds not terrible, and it's not if you don't live in America, but if you retire in America at 65 and you live until you're 90, that's 25 years of retirement, and you withdraw 4% every year to live on, which is a safe conservative rule or a common guideline. You can withdraw $60,000 a year. But don't forget, that $60,000 is taxable ordinary income. So after federal and state taxes, you're looking at around $45,000 to $48,000 a year in actual spending power. Can you live off of $45,000 a year in retirement? Maybe, again, if you didn't live in the United States. But is that the lifestyle you envision? Again, if you lived in Vietnam, where it only costs you $1,000 a year to live, okay. Perhaps. But living in the States, girl and boy, like, oh boy. So basically, the contribution limits from a pre-tax perspective are just simply too low to build the wealth you need if that's your only retirement vehicle. The second problem is you have zero tax diversification. And this is the part that most people don't think about until it's like way, 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 way too late. Every dollar that you put into a traditional 401k is tax deferred. You don't pay taxes now, but you will pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. And here's the kicker. You'll pay taxes at your ordinary income tax rate, the same rate you pay on your salary. So let's say you retire with $1.5 million in your 401k. Congratulations, you're a millionaire on paper. But in reality, the IRS owns a chunk of that. Now, if you're in the 24% federal tax bracket and you pay 5% state taxes, the IRS and your state own 29% of your 401k. So that's $435,000 of your $1.5 million retirement. So really, that's only $1,065,000. So your $1.5 million is really only $1,065,000 after taxes. And it only gets worse because when you turn 73, there's a thing called required minimum distributions, or RMDs, or what I like to call WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, from a tax perspective or from your money perspective. And this is where the IRS forces you to withdraw a certain percentage of your retirement or your 401k every year. And you have to withdraw this whether you need the money or not. And you're going to pay taxes on it because they want their money. Uncle Sam coming for it. So if you have too much in your 401k, those RMDs or WMDs can push you into a higher tax bracket, which will increase your Medicare premiums and trigger taxes on your Social Security benefits. And so this is what many of us don't know or don't really think about. You were being smart by saving, you were, but the IRS is waiting on you like Debo to take you on the back end. It's like that. Anyway, problem 3. There are limited investment options. So most 401k plans give you a menu of 10 to 20 mutual funds to choose from. And that's it. You can invest in your choice of individual stocks. Now, even though we know they're trying to get private equity and real estate syndications, venture capital, and the like, they're offering that in 401ks. I ain't gonna hold you. I wouldn't invest in them because you can't do the diligence. You have to trust that your custodian who went to Dartmouth with the fund manager did the proper due diligence. And you know what? I don't like that. That's just me. I don't like that, but you might like it. I mean, I'm just saying, but be careful. There are limited investment options in 401k plans today. All right, so let me paint the full picture of what happens if you have too much money in your 401k and not enough tax diversification. Okay, let's just say you retire at 65 with $2 million in your 401k. You're feeling good. You're all right. You know, you did all right. Good for you. You start withdrawing $80,000 a year to live on. After taxes, that's about $60,000 in spending power. That's $5,000 a month. But then you turn 73 and the IRS says time for RMDs or WMDs. And your first RMD is about $75,000 based on IRS life expectancy tables, because that's what it's based on. It ain't based on what you want or what you need. It's based on what their actuaries say makes sense. But the problem is you don't need $75,000. You only need the $60,000 after taxes. But that's too bad. You have to take the full $75,000 and you have to pay taxes on it. And now you're paying taxes on money you didn't even want to withdraw. And because your taxable income just went up, guess what happens? You earn good money, real good money. And yet you're still not entirely sure how to manage it and invest it. You've listened to the podcast, you've attended the webinars, and you've already started investing. And somehow with all of that, you're still second guessing and afraid that you won't be able to create that 7 or 8 figure wealthy life of your dreams. The Sovereign Collective was built just for you. A judgment-free and safe space specifically for high-earning Black women who are ready to stop pretending that they have it all together and actually start building generational wealth. Just 20 seats, 20. Learn more at joinsovereign.co. And remember, you are always wealthy. Your Medicare premiums go up because they're based on income, and your Social Security benefits become taxable because your income crossed the threshold that triggers taxing your Social Security benefits. So now you're paying more in taxes, more for health care, and the IRS is taking a bigger bite of your Social Security. And so this is what I call the retirement tax trap, and it's completely avoidable if you plan ahead. And so the wealthy avoid this by building what's called tax diversification. And they spread their money across different account types so that they control their taxable income in retirement. So here's how the wealthy think about different retirement accounts. They have tax deferred accounts like your 401k, a traditional IRA, where you don't pay taxes today, but you pay taxes when you withdraw later. And that's good for reducing your taxable income today. So y'all will hear me talk about that. Like if you are getting hammered by taxes, you should absolutely have 401k in your tax strategy for today. But they also are investing in tax-free accounts like Roth IRA and your Roth 401k. And so yes, you're paying taxes now, but withdrawals and retirement are 100% tax free. And this is good for building a tax-free income stream in retirement. And then they also invest in taxable brokerage accounts. So you pay taxes on dividends, on capital gains, but there's no required minimum distributions or RMDs or WNDs. And long-term capital gains rates are lower than ordinary tax rates. So this is great to have flexibility and access to alternative investments because you can borrow money from your brokerage accounts and invest in other alternatives, just like Elon Musk did when he borrowed his Tesla stock to buy Twitter, now X. All right, the wealthy also invest in real estate and other alternative assets because they want to generate cash flow and appreciation. And there are also unique tax benefits associated with it, like 1031 exchanges for real estate or depreciation deductions, depending on which businesses that you might invest in. And so the wealthy are spreading their wealth across all four buckets so that they can strategically decide in retirement, do I pull from my 401k this year and pay ordinary income tax? Or do I pull from my Roth and pay zero taxes? Do I use tax loss harvesting because it was a down year and I have losses to offset any money that comes out of my 401k this year? So they have different levers that they can pull, and we need to start thinking like that as well. So if you're between 38 and 55, you're in the prime years to fix this. So you still have 10 to 25 years before you retire, theoretically, and that's enough time to build a tax deferred or tax diversified retirement portfolio. And so here's what you need to start thinking about. One, am I over contributing to my 401k at the expense of other accounts? If you're maxing out your 401k, but you haven't opened a Roth IRA, a taxable brokerage account, or explored either real estate investing or any other type of alternative investments, so you are building a tax time bomb. Second question, should I be doing Roth conversions now while I'm still working? And so if you're in a moderate tax bracket now, it might make sense to convert some of your traditional 401ks or IRAs to a Roth IRA and pay the taxes now at today's rates, rather than waiting until retirement when rates might be higher. Also ask yourself, am I diversifying across asset classes, or am I 100% in stocks? The wealthy don't put all of their money in one basket, and that's including the stock market. They own real estate, private equity, infrastructure, and other alternatives that provide cash flow and diversification. Then ask yourself, do I have a plan for managing RMDs or WMDs and taxes in retirement? And if you don't think about this now, you'll be scrambling at 73 when the IRS forces you to start withdrawing. And then ask yourself, am I working with a financial advisor or CPA who understands tax advantage retirement strategies? If your advisor's only advice is max out your 401k, dump them. They don't know what they're talking about, and they're not thinking strategically about your retirement. So here's the mindset shifts that I want you to make. The wealthy don't think, how much can I save? They think, how much can I keep? Saving is important, investing is important, but keeping what you invest or save by protecting it from taxes, inflation, and poor planning is what actually builds wealth. And so here's what I want you to take away from today. Your 401k is a tool. It's a good tool, but it's not the only tool. If you're relying solely on your 401k to fund your retirement, you're at risk of running out of money. Like, full stop. And that's scary. Paying more in taxes than you need to, which is like annoying, especially with this administration. Having limited investment options, which is also annoying. Being forced to withdraw money that you don't need because of RMDs or WMDs. The wealthy avoid these problems by building tax diversified multi-asset retirement portfolios, and you can too. Okay? All right. Next week, in part 2, we're going to build an actual retirement portfolio strategy. This is one of the most important 2-part series we've done on this podcast because your retirement isn't something you can fix when you're 64. I ain't gonna hold you. You kind of out. The later you kick this can down the road, the worse it's going to be for you. So I'm hoping we locked in. That's the point. We need to be locked in on this. The main thing I want you to take away from today is the fact that your 401k alone, if that's your only retirement vehicle or account, we need to fix that yesterday, and we're going to do that. I don't shame nobody here, but all right, now we know. Knowing is half the battle, so let's fix it. We talked about the main reasons why it's not good enough. If this was helpful, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Follow, like, and subscribe wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.